So, digital trust largely signifies the faith that users place in digital systems or technologies and the organizations responsible for their development and management. Now, this trust is not one-sided, but multifaceted, covering domains like security, privacy, reliability, ethical standards, just name it. So again, for organizations pursuing digital transformation, a sustainable way to do this is to bake digital trust into their digital transformation agenda, right? So for some of us might have heard the concepts like digital trust by design, right? Um, Part of why we're here today is because of the importance of the need to understand what digital trust is and how crucial it is to building this sustainable digital ecosystem. It's an opportunity for businesses, governments, individuals to grow and thrive in the complexities of our digital age. So this morning, we have a top voice in digital trust lead this conversation. Her name is Veronica Rose. She is a digital trust practitioner with PwC Kenya and a director with Isaka Foundation. She holds an MSc in information systems. She's a CISA. She's a certified data privacy solutions engineer. Just name it. She also holds a certificate in generative AI for executives. She is an author, right? We'll discuss that. I'm sure you'll see all of that. We'll discuss that further at the end of this session. However, Veronica has requested that we play a short clip just before the session starts. So just give me a sec. Hey,
Baby, yeah,
can you hear
that's the
sound?
anthem.
Hello, guys. Can you hear sound?
Yes, I
Yes,
have to.
get your hands up.
Okay.
Hey, hey, yeah. Listen close as I tell you all the tale. How my soccer got your boy ready to prevail. I always had a feeling that my future was bright. And thanks to Osaka, yes sir, I'm prepped for the fight. My path wasn't clear for careers, what would I do? Had a good eye for tech since a foot high. Challenges are a must, that's how my brain works. Almost tiny till I try better frameworks. What new career will I choose to make a difference? Cyber crime, risk, and audit amongst my interests. Pen testing, beyond me, it ain't a question. I need to find a mentor, distributing a lesson. Change my life for the better. They can do it for you. From system to Seagate and IT's D-Light. Now my future's got the green light. Osaka, pursuing digital trust. Osaka, where progression's a must. Osaka, realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Osaka, pursuing digital trust. Osaka, where progression's a must. Osaka, realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Scissor, gain the knowledge, use the order control. Monitor the data flow, then assess what's known. Take that info and use it to improve and hone. Only the first cert, but I'm feeling right in the zone. Next up looks like C-Risk. I really want to see this. Train so I can see risk in enterprise arenas where others can't see it. Don't focus on the surface, but what's beneath it. Reaching the next certain sequence. Says I'm an acronym and mechanism for a managerial application of synergism. Through program development, security, and governance. Skills hiring companies covet. Better come with it. Seagate, earn my nose with knowledge and the foresight. Designing, implementing, and setting the course right. This is for executives and experts. But I know Osaka can help you if you put in the work. Osaka, pursuing digital trust. Osaka, where progression's a must. Osaka, realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Osaka, pursuing digital trust. Osaka, where progression's a must. I soccer. Realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Yo, now that I got what I need, I'm like a new soul. No more cruise control, it's beast mode. When I started at bronze, made sure that I reviewed. Studied hard in my field, make sure that I renewed. Now I'm iller at silver. I stand and deliver. My certs are arrows in my knowledge quiver. A sliver of time and I'm at gold. Take hold of the controls and there isn't any maximum. Even after platinum, I won't stop the stratagem. I made it this far. From a new member to the latest IT star. For real. I know I didn't rise alone. Props to Soccer for helping me reach the throne. Employers worldwide impressed with what I've shown. With a network of hundreds of thousands across the globe. But yo, I'll never forget. Soccer for the dream. I contribute for life. Forever part of the team. Soccer. Pursuing digital trust. Soccer. When progression's a must. Realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Soccer. Pursuing digital trust. Soccer. When progression's a must. Soccer. Realize my purpose and promise. And if I can be honest, a new era's upon us. Soccer.
Okay. What do you guys think? This is the first I'm hearing that anthem. I've been an Isaac for a while now. So thank you, Veronica, for sharing. So I'll just hand over to Veronica to take the conversation forward, and I'll come back at the end of our session to wrap up. Veronica?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. That's our anthem. Yeah. I think
Nice.
the music and the anthem has already summarized what I was going to talk about, but I will still go ahead and talk about what we are going to discuss today. So thank you, Tony and Martins, for the invitation. I appreciate. And thank you for the audience who have joined in this Saturday. I know it's a weekend, probably would be doing other things, but you decided to join us today, so thank you. Martin, if we can go to the previous slide first. Just a brief about myself. I know Tony has introduced me on other aspects, but I'm also a digital trust professional. I'm an ISACA member, professional member, and a passionate member. I hold quite a number of ISACA certifications and other industry certifications as well. I sit on the ISACA Foundation Board, and previously I was sitting on the ISACA International Board. I'm a mentor, and part of my work with ISACA, I was part of the team that introduced the ISACA mentorship program. So in my free time, I'm usually at the golf club, so you'll find me either golfing or in the forest running. That is how I cool off. And other than that, you'll find me reading or writing a book. So I'm a professional member of the National Association for Corporate Directors, and I also sit on the Boardroom Africa team as well. And I'm a published author, as Tony mentioned. So happy to be with you. And I request this discussion to be very interactive. Share your thoughts in the comment section. I know Tony and Martin will be helping me to check in case there's a comment or if there's a question that you would like us to address as we progress with the session. If you can go to the next slide, please. So in the next few minutes of your time, we will cover. Allow me to turn off my video. For some reason, our internet connection in Kenya is a little bit slow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you. So in the next few minutes, here is our agenda. We are going to look at digital trust. We'll define what digital trust is. And also the audience, feel free to put in the chat to you when you hear of the word digital trust, what comes into your mind? What what does it mean to you before we even give you what ISACA thinks digital trust is? What do you think digital trust represents, and what does it mean to you? So we are going to talk about digital trust. We will discuss the roles and responsibilities related to digital trust and how IT risk professionals plug in. We will look at the digital trust principles. We will look at the ISACA's digital trust framework that was released this year. We'll also look at the key considerations. We'll also look at the key consideration of the IT risk practitioners. If we can go to the next slide. And before we go to the next slide, let's go to the previous one. I'd like to see if there is anybody who has defined what digital trust means to them. Tony, do we have any response in the chat?
Just checking out, none yet.
Not yet. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so digital trust, the way you hear it is the way it is. It is about the confidence in the integrity of the relationships, the interactions and transactions among us, the digital trust professionals, and our consumers, our clients, the different people that we serve in the digital ecosystem. So it is as the term states, digital trust. How do we ensure that the relationships that we have with different parties, either our clients, our stakeholders, is trusted? The key concept here is about the trust that we put out there. So this trust is not simply about only the domains that we work in, but it's about the faith in the relationship we build with our clients and our different key stakeholders. So this includes the ability of people, organizations, processes, information, and technology to create and maintain a trustworthy digital world. I'll give an example, like when maybe you want to withdraw money from the bank, but let's say you want to do an internet banking transaction. The trust that you have that you're going to open that browser, you're going to insert your personal information, you're going to transact, you're going to send money from one account to the other, and the efficiency that comes with it, the integrity that comes with the amount that you have selected, that is what is received, the encryption controls that have been put into place to ensure that nobody taps that transaction. All that is digital trust, ensuring that you can transact whichever platform you're using, whichever client you're working with or organization you're working with. But at the end of the day, the concept, there is trust. You can trust your service provider, and they can also trust you. They can also provide a service where you are, where you feel this is a comfortable place, or this is a place that will provide me a service with integrity. When you look at our CIA tribe, there's confidentiality, there is integrity, and there's also availability. It can be so frustrating if you go to a bank and, or maybe you're using your mobile banking app or whichever platform you're using, and you can't access even just checking your balance. You cannot check your balance. You know how frustrating that can be. Do you know how many calls you can give to the customer service or the chatbot? So digital trust is about ensuring that there is integrity in all the transactions, not only just financial, but even other aspects of us working with different stakeholders. If we can go to the next. So how does a digitally trusted ecosystem look like? So when you look at your enterprise, an enterprise can improve its relationship with customers, it can enhance its reputation and increase brand loyalty by building digital trust using these aspects that you can see here on the screen. So focusing on digital trust is a natural progression of digital transformation as a journey. And if you notice, the digital trust ecosystem emphasizes quality in everything that we do. It emphasizes security and privacy of the information of the business processes that we deal with. It emphasizes reliability. Is this client or is this professional reliable? Is the information or the resources I get from a particular platform, is it reliable? You can see we are dealing so much in the digital environment, and you'll notice that there is a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and the factual information. Which one is reliable? So digital trust is bringing us this to ensure that we are able as digital trust professionals to identify what is not reliable, what is not true, what is not factual. The ecosystem also emphasizes the ethics and integrity. It emphasizes transparency and honesty. If you notice, most organizations now, they tell you, when you look at the privacy notices on different organizations' websites, you will see that they'll tell you how they collect your information. You'll see they have described how they process it. Even as I was joining this Zoom call, I noticed that Zoom was telling me that this call, the information that is going to be shared during this meeting is going to be shared with a third party. And I had an option either to accept or leave the meeting. So digital trust is about bringing in all those aspects that let the customer, let the professionals, let everyone who interacts in the digital world be able to know, how are you processing my information? How are the controls set in place? How are they favoring both the business and also the user of a particular product? And also the confidence. There are different organizations that maybe you transact with and you are confident that for sure they cannot fail you. You cannot maybe check your balance and it is unavailable. And even if it's unavailable, they will at least inform you a day before that maybe there is a maintenance that is going to happen or there's an upgrade that is going to happen. This is what a digitally trustworthy ecosystem ideally should look like. If you can go to the next one. So with pursuing digital trust, we use a balanced scorecard approach. I'm sure in your business environments, you've interacted with balanced scorecards. You know how you determine how you check this, how you determine the competitive advantages of your product, or maybe performance of your staff. Depends on how you use it. So with digital trust, companies that have embraced this, they enjoy quite a number of competitive advantages to companies that have not prioritized trust by design. And here, what do I mean? We look at the 4 aspects of this balanced scorecard, and on the financial aspect, this includes decreasing costs, ensuring that if we are making an investment as an organization, there is guaranteed return on investment. And if we are looking at risk management, we are optimizing our risk management procedures. And we are also avoiding penalties or fees just in case maybe we have failed to meet a regulatory requirement. Then on the customer side, digitally trustworthy organizations have stronger ties to their customers. They build the brand, and customers are able to trust them. Their reputation in the market is good. I'm sure there are organizations that if anybody said something shady about these organizations, you can easily say that's not true. Why? Because they have built their brand and their reputation, and you having interacted with them, you can easily tell that for sure this client is reliable, their service, their customer service, their services, it is reliable. And then on the internal aspect of it, digitally trustworthy companies have optimized their environment in a way that they are investing into data analytics. They are investing into improving knowledge of their staff, of their teams. they are ensuring that there is increased security within their environment, data privacy aspect and data transparency about that, and then a reduction in reaction times in case maybe they experience maybe a cyber attack or a data breach. So this also covers the policies that they have in place and also the implementation of the policies that they have in place. Then when you look at the growth aspect, you will notice that the digitally trustworthy enterprises have a healthy digital posture that allows their enterprises to reach new heights. How? So this is enhanced through the new products that they bring into the market, the new services, efficient ways of ensuring that customers access their products easily. They increase value into they add value into the services they provide. I think this is one thing we can all agree that brings about the improved brand loyalty. Okay, if we can jump on to the next one. So a question here comes, how should IT practitioners foster digital trust? So there are many ways of how, as an IT risk practitioner or a GRC practitioner, can foster digital trust into your environment. And this requires consistency. Obviously, there is no come and take the box and move on, that maybe initiative will work. Everything requires consistency to implement it into the organization. So whenever we engage with people, maybe at enterprise level or our customers, we are engaging them with different personalities. We come in with different behaviors. We come in with different experiences, different beliefs. We come in with different values. And also you'll notice that also your organization has its own beliefs. It has its own values. It has its own cultures. It has its own maybe attributes that guide how staff should behave, how the organization should behave, how teams should act on behalf of the organization. So it is important that enterprises or your organization or as the IT risk practitioner to define what your culture looks like. What does ethics mean to you? What behavior that is going to differentiate you from your competitors? Which behavior is going to differentiate you from other IT risk practitioners? So defining the culture, it is not just about speaking the words. I hear there is a common saying that goes that strategy eats culture for breakfast, meaning that if the culture is wrong, even if you have a very good strategy, you are likely not to achieve the business objectives. Why? Because culture is not just words alone. It's the behavior. It is the tone at the top. It is commitment to growth and improvement. Then the other thing, us as digital trust professionals, is ensuring that there are proper tools and these tools are working. I don't know if you've noticed, there are organizations where you'll go to where they have invested in a number of tools, but you don't see the return on investment. They don't actually use these tools. People prefer doing things manually. So you'll wonder why. Why does this happen so? So these are some things that digital trust practitioners need to be checking and finding out. Is everything that we are investing in worthy the investment? Are we making the right investment? And are we seeing return on investment? If we can go to the next one. So digital trust principles for IT practitioners. So remember, when you're in an organization or a department, there's an expectation of you to contribute to the digital trust framework. But there's also an expectation of the board from management. So depends on the level where you are at in your organization. You will find that you have to contribute on these digital trust principles. And regardless whether this is a non-for-profit organization, whether it is government, whether it's a private sector, I don't know whichever organization could be. Everything that we do in every organization, the common thing, whichever industry you come from, the common thing is having purpose. An organization that doesn't have a purpose, it will be difficult for you even to align the objectives of or what you want to achieve as an organization. So when you look at the systems thinking, risk governance, awareness, having the appropriate framework and the risk management strategies that you have put into place will easily help you determine where you're going as an organization. So now let's dive into the digital trust principles one by one real quick. I know time is not on our side well, but I think we will complete on time. So looking at the digital trust principle number one, your responsibility as a IT risk practitioner would be, you will need to consider whether your enterprise, when you're looking at your risk profile, you don't just look at particular risks. There are tendencies of some organizations where IT risk is treated as a different risk. Then cybersecurity risk is also treated as a separate risk. And also privacy risk is treated as a separate risk. No, we have to have a holistic view and an understanding of how different risks within the organization are handled. And this has to be done centrally, not separately. IT risk is not different from the whole enterprise risk, because you'll find that an IT-related risk, it is an overall business risk. In case a server is down in an organization, nobody is going to be able to transact. Nobody is going to be able to do some certain aspects of the business. So isolating risks here, it makes it very difficult for us to ensure that we uphold the principle of systems thinking. And then IT risk practitioners should also view digital trust as the umbrella for all risks in the organization. The other thing is to integrate frameworks into the overall digital trust framework ecosystem. I'll share with you details on the ISACA digital trust ecosystem, framework, so that you can also familiarize yourself with it. And here I must say, there is no one framework that fits it all. So once you have this framework, ensure you can integrate it with other frameworks to see that you can achieve a common goal, taking us back to the purpose. And then lastly here is integrate enterprise architecture principles so that you can model the current and the future state of the enterprise. Let them be like building blocks to ensure that you achieve your business objectives. So if you can look at principle number 2, Tony, if we can go to the next one. If you look at principle number 2, you will notice that here we encourage you to identify, to communicate, and foster risk appetite, and also the tolerance levels across your organization. Because this will help ensure that proper risk decisions align with your overall risk profiles. So when you're identifying risks within an organization, let all risks, like I mentioned earlier, let all risks be identified as overall business risks, not as individual risks. And then the other thing is to develop an enterprise risk register. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to mitigate risks, if you don't understand the risks that you have in the organization, it will be difficult for you to identify the risk treatment mitigation strategies. So ensure you have an enterprise risk register that is refreshed, not a register that maybe was last updated in 2020, and that is what you call the risk register. No, a risk register has to be refreshed quite often, and approvals have to be sought. Risk owners in the organization have to be identified so that you know how and who and when this risk has to be mitigated. The other thing is to develop appropriate authority levels and also having escalation ways of handling your risks. Let the escalation procedures for your risk be clear to everybody. Everyone is a risk owner in your organization, but if you don't define exactly who is responsible for this, who do we engage when it comes to this type of risk, it can be difficult for you to achieve the risk governance principle. And then lastly, associate digital trust scenarios with business risk. So like I mentioned, don't treat digital trust risks separately from the overall enterprise risk. Then if we can look at principle number 3, you will notice that we are emphasizing awareness. As a digital trust professional or IT risk practitioner or a GRC professional, one of the things that kill any initiative into our organization is not helping people understand the dynamics of our environment. If there is no constant communication of the risk we have in place, it can be really difficult for us to even achieve our digital trust goals. So the key considerations here is that leverage external expertise, just in case in your organization you don't have people with the key skills. You can either outsource, engage the consulting firm, or you can train the people internally to ensure that they have the expertise that is needed and they are able to make informed decisions related to digital trust. The other thing is to ensure that digital trust outcomes are linked to the success in your cybersecurity, in your privacy, in your risk domains. The other thing is to create a communication plan. This will help you endorse your transparency throughout the organization, because anytime something is not communicated, even if you develop a policy today and you put it on the shelf or you store it on your shared drive, and you don't communicate, you don't train people, you don't make people aware of this process, of this policy, it is as good as not having any. So communication, transparency on key topics is really important in an organization. Then the other thing is to continually adjust the approach to digital trust as internal and external factors organizations change. So you will notice that there are quite a number of regulations that keep coming and changing. Frameworks are revised, systems are upgraded. So these are things that we have to pay attention at as digital trust professionals. So I have a quote for you here, but digital trust, when it comes to digital trust, transparency is a key pillar of the digital trust ecosystem framework. So as an IT risk practitioner, you have the responsibility of encouraging organizations to be open about their digital trust initiatives. More so is to allow stakeholders understand the decision-making process and operations within your organization. If the key decision makers are not aware of what you're doing, at the end of the day, there is nothing you're doing. They don't know, you'll not get the support that you need. Then looking at principle number 4, we should set the expectation that management will establish an enterprise-wide digital trust framework with adequate monitoring, sufficient reporting, training of the people, and also having a budget. If you don't have a budget for any initiative, people are not trained, there are no reports to support this, monitoring is not done, this may be difficult for you to achieve. So what are the key considerations that you can look at? You can look at selecting a framework that is open, that is flexible, standards and models. When you look at the digital trust framework, you can merge it with other industry frameworks that are applicable to your environment, and then that will be a very good blend for you. You can also ensure the framework is holistic, tailorable, it is customizable, it addresses all the aspects of your environment. And then the other thing is to use the digital trust framework as a complement or an extension. because probably you've already adopted different frameworks. So when you bring in the digital trust framework, it doesn't mean that you drop the other ones. No, it is just blend it in, because the digital trust framework, it's customizable. It accommodates other frameworks. If we can get into the next principle, which is on risk management. I know we are IT risk practitioners here. Maybe some are not, but at the end of the day, we are all responsible to risk management in different aspects of our lives. Even in your family, not even just the workplace, you manage risk. You will know that, oh, at night I'll have to lock my door, because if I don't lock it, maybe it may tempt somebody to get into it. So we are risk managers wherever we are, regardless of whether we are doing it cautiously or subconsciously. So, part of managing risks is understanding how you mitigate your risk. You either choose to avoid the risk, to accept the risk, to mitigate the risk, or you transfer it, looking at the facts that you have gathered around that particular risk. So what are the key considerations here? One is to define the risk management process. You may not have a particular standard of how you manage your risk, but of course, you will have to identify what risks you have, assess the risks you have, determine how you respond to these risks, and then put in place the monitoring procedures on how you're going to monitor the risks, especially those related to digital trust. The other thing is to determine the criteria for risk assessment, such as the likelihood of impact, when is it likely to happen, can we avoid it, can we mitigate it before it even happens, which control measures do we have in place, are our controls effective, are the policies we have in place effective? All those have to be determined. Then the other thing is to determine the response procedures and also ensure that risk-based decisions are consistent with the risk governance guidance. So here it is more about seeking support from the top management. So looking at the ISACA's digital trust framework that was released this year, you will notice that this framework, initially it was more of, when you look at the information systems aspect, you'll notice that we were only focusing on people, processes, and technology. But the digital trust framework has escalated it to ensure that it covers the entire organization, meaning that an organization culture covers the people and how the processes are going to go. The architecture of the technology will determine how the organization progresses and how the organization determines its return on investments. Organization-wise, you'll notice that you'll need a governing body that will help you direct and monitor what management is doing. And then now the human aspect, the key skills that people have, how the culture is helping you achieve your technology initiatives within the organization. So this is a very interesting framework. I encourage you to have a look at it. I'll share with you the links on where to access it from, but it's very, very, very holistic and very customizable. If we can go to the next one. So we have Tony, if you can go to the next slide, please. I think we lost Tony. Can you hear me? Martin, confirm that you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Apologies.
I thought I had lost connection. Okay. Tanya, if we can get to the next slide, please. Yes. So I wanted to take you through briefly on the hierarchy of the digital trust framework. So this framework has domains that play a significant role in managing digital complexities and interconnections. And what here we emphasize is that people must trust and remain flexible and dynamic while considering, let's say, emerging technologies, when they are considering the new regulations that come in, the threat landscape, the compliance issues, and other influences. So if you notice, you'll see that in the first domain, we define and describe dependencies between the nodes. We look at the trust factor, which provides foundational trusts onto the digital trust domains. We look at how we practice in our respective domains, the activities that are engaged within this practice, and also the outcomes. So the results from accomplishing each activity. So if we can go to the next slide, we will briefly look at the considerations of what digital trust professionals should do when dealing or when interacting or when you're implementing the digital trust framework within your environment or within your work processes. So from a governance perspective, there are several key areas to consider regarding the digital trust framework. And here, one of the things is that what I can say here is that think of the digital trust ecosystem framework as a holistic system. Don't see it as a separate item altogether. So look at it as a holistic system and understand that changing one area may affect other areas as well. Then the other thing is to resist the urge of copying and pasting the framework, because we all understand that there is no framework that is one size fits all. So we encourage that understand your business mission, vision, the objectives, and then tailor the business needs as per, tailor the framework as per the specific business needs. The other thing is position the digital trust initiatives or digital trust as a whole, position it as an enterprise concern. You see, the same way we say cybersecurity should be a business issue, all those things, digital trust should be treated the same way. Don't treat it as a separate issue. The other thing as a digital trust practitioner or IT risk practitioner is to obtain a clear understanding of where you are as a business. Do a current situation analysis. Where are we as a business? Where are we planning to go? Then this will provide you visibility as you even bring in new tools, acquire new knowledge, or even engage in different partnerships with different service providers. If we can go to the next one. So the other consideration as an IT risk practitioner that you need to look at is create and manage the risk register. Like I said, ensure that your risk register is fresh. Anytime you bring in a new system into your environment, refresh your risk register. Anytime an attack or a cyber attack or a breach happens, refresh your risk register. Anytime there are changes in the overall business environment, refresh your risk register. Don't only refresh the register when maybe auditors are coming in, or maybe once a consultant came in and that was it. No, anytime there is a change in the organization, specifically significant changes, ensure your IT risk register is up to date. The other thing is to integrate your digital trust into the enterprise governance structure. If you notice from what we looked at earlier is that we've added organization onto people, processes, and technology. So ensure that your board or your key decision makers understand your digital trust initiatives. Then the other key thing is culture. Like I mentioned, culture is strategy for breakfast. If you do not have the right culture, regardless of which frameworks you'll have, standards, strategies, it will be difficult for you to achieve your objectives. Then know the enterprise's current skills inventory. So here we encourage you as a digital trust professional or IT risk practitioner, ensure that you're always learning. Ensure that at least maybe quarterly, depends on how busy you are, monthly or something, learn something new, implement it. invent, learn new certifications, just be a student for life to thrive into the digital trust ecosystem. The other thing is to establish digital trust matrices that organizations will collect, report, and act upon. Because if this thing is not monitored, at the end of the day, you will not be able to provide results on what you're trying to achieve. Then the other thing is ensure you upskill. I've just mentioned about this. Earn a new certification, get new knowledge, ensure that you have a training plan within the organization. Ensure people are trained. Let training not be a tick a box thing in your organization. Always ensure that training is prioritized, because if training is not prioritized, you create a big technical debt in your organization. Then I encourage you to join professional communities where digital trust initiatives are discussed. If you're already part of one, renew your membership. If it's a paid for membership, renew it. If it's not, ensure you're active there. Contribute also your knowledge as well. The other thing is seek coaching and mentorship, because when a new domain comes up into our industry, there are people who already have the knowledge about it. Seek their coaching. And if you need guidance on how to maneuver through your career, mentorship is a key aspect to consider. The other thing is to embrace the qualities of a trusted information systems auditor. Auditors, if you look at the audit profession itself, it is a profession that usually looks on every domain into the organization. So embrace the qualities of what auditors have, even if you don't practice as an auditor, which will help you have a holistic view on different business aspects. Then stay up to date with changes in IT regulations and industry trends. You'll notice that generative AI is here. We have responsible AI is here. We have different sorts of IoT, machine learning, name them. They are coming in, but how are they impacting organizations? If you're trying to assess the risk that they bring into your organization, how are you doing that? So ensure you stay up to date with new knowledge, new trends, and new changes. Then lastly, as we close, as always, I encourage people to take care of themselves. So work hard, take care of yourself. Yeah, that's it. I think that's back to you. Back to you, Tony.
We
Yeah.
should play golf as well.
Yes, you should play golf.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Veronica, for that insightful session. We've got a couple of questions in the chat, right?
Okay.
I'm hoping we'll be able to take them within the minimal time we have. Oluwaseun is saying, who should drive digital trust initiatives in an organization?
I beg your pardon?
I said, one of the
Oh, you're
questions
reading the
asked is,
question.
yes,
Okay, no problem. So
who
you're
should
saying who should drive digital trust
trust
initiatives in an
initiative
organization,
in
right?
the organization? Yes.
Thank you so much for the question. So we are digital trust professionals already. So, of course, every organization has key decision makers. So I'll not dictate exactly that who should run it, right? But you know the reporting lines, the structure. But as a digital trust an IT risk practitioner, it doesn't hurt if you initiate this conversation into your environment and then see if you can champion it. If you're not able to champion it, then the other people can champion it, but at least let it be a discussion that is discussed. Let it be something that is known in the organization. So if you're a business leader, let me just say, if you're in the GRC space, I encourage you to initiate these discussions. Whoever will run it, we don't know, but you can champion it. You can ensure that this is something the organization is taking seriously.
Hmm. But I think what Veronica is saying is that there are no hard and fast rules as to who should drive it. Again, it's for it to have some bite, it would be ideal that it's driven from top to the bottom, meaning that it should be a
Yes.
management priority, and we can initiate that conversation from wherever we are, such that management sees the buy-in and takes up this stuff, such that it's executed enterprise-wide, right?
Absolutely.
Veronica, there's also another question that says that the use of shadow IT and other AI system heightens concerns about bias, fairness, misinformation, and explainability. And he's saying, how can organizations surmount these challenges towards maintaining a healthy digital trust?
Thank you. That's a very good question. Yeah. So that is the main reason as to why we are even here today. If you recall, when I was starting my presentation, I was giving an example where there is a lot of disinformation on the internet. There is a lot of information left, right, and center, more of an information overload, right? When you look at generative AI, I've been, these days, I'm really learning about Gen AI. It's something that I'm much interested in. And what you notice is that the models are learning from individuals like us. So just in case if you're biased as an individual and you share misinformation, the Gen AI tool is going to pick that information, thinking it is correct. That is why I encourage people, if you're learning about generative AI, also learn about responsible AI, because those are two different AI models. So these tools are, let's say these modules are learning from us individuals who are already in the industry. So it is upon us as digital trust professionals to ensure that whatever information, the data, the processes, it is factual. Digital trust is about enhancing and ensuring trust in the tool, the product, the information, the process, name them, anything that you engage it. The key thing is about the trust, that can if this information be trusted. If you went onto the website and maybe Googled medicine maybe for curing a particular disease, can you trust that information? So meaning that this information may be fed into the tool by any person. Maybe they wanted to just share information, but how do you ensure that trust? So this is why these frameworks are coming up to ensure that as digital trust professionals, we are able to advise. We get into the advisory role and say, information source that is that is extracted from a particular site may not be factual. Right now, if you go online and you Google information and you put a quote and say, share with me results, let's say on Google, and you say, I want information related to this, but information before 2020. It is going to be different information from the information that you will generically search. Why? Because you notice that there is information that has been generated by AI and there's information that was factual then, or misinformation that was factual even before AI became a thing. So as digital practitioner, we just have to have that other sense, that other instinct auditors have, to ensure that we are selling correct products, selling good information. We are speaking from factual sources when we are giving out information in the maybe to our clients or in the entire digital trust ecosystem.
Interesting. More like baking digital trust into the foundation of whatever product or solution that you're trying to
Absolutely.
build. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. There are still a few more. I'm hoping we can, guys, we might need to do an extra 10 minutes if you don't mind. We just have 3 more questions to go, but there's this interesting one I want us to take first, just in case. And
Yes.
it's from Joseph, and it's saying, what is supposed to be the balance between the trust from the customer and the trust from the provider? Is that because there is a sort of expectation gap in the digital trust ecosystem? For example, it's saying if my system is vulnerable to a certain form of vulnerability as a customer, why should your system allow me to use a digital platform? Or who is actually responsible for establishing this trust? It kind of ties to one of the questions that Stephen is asking around the difference between digital trust and zero trust. But Veronica, I'll leave you to.
It's very interesting. It's a very interesting question. But at the end of the day, digital trust is here to help us ensure trust by design.
Hmm.
So just in short, to answer that question, it's about ensuring trust by design and trust by default in processes, in tools, in systems, and organization-wide.
Okay. Maybe I could. Well, I'll just leave it at that. Someone is asking the difference between digital trust and zero trust. These
That
I
is
know the concept of zero trust is embedded in
that is
blocks,
another
but
topic. That would be another topic for another day. But zero trust, of course, it is more into security, where we're emphasizing trust by default, either within or outside of the environment. Something digital trust. Are we as practitioners ensuring that the services we provide are designed with trust? You know, let's say if you're a consultant, you're going out maybe to do an audit or consult to ensure that you help a particular organization get through their digital transformation journey. Where are you getting the resources that you're using? You know, you hear people being called they are being called briefcase consultants. Have you heard such terms? People are called that because they're like, oh, we onboarded a consultant came here, gave us good presentations, but when it came to applicability, nothing was related to what they shared with us initially. Do you usually hear such complaints from customers?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so
True.
those happen when even the source of our content, the nature of what we do, maybe are we even certified in what we are trying to do? You know, are we, what is our source of information? That's why we encourage organizations, have a framework you align your processes with. It may not be one framework or two, but at least have a framework that guides your digital transformation journey. There, you're ensuring that you're implementing trust by design or by default.
Okay. Let me add to that by saying that I like to think that zero trust is a subset of digital trust, because digital trust just encompasses everything.
Yes,
Right?
correct.
It just encompasses everything. And so you just have the subs. Zero trust is an enabler of digital trust in
Correct.
our digital
Correct.
ecosystem.
So when you look at also the digital trust framework, you'll notice that zero trust falls under the technology aspect.
Correct.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay, guys, because of time, we've maxed out our time. I want to thank you, Veronica, for spending time this last 1 hour with us. We do not take it for granted. Guys, just like you saw in the introduction, Veronica is multifaceted. She's an author, she's a speaker. I've just dropped some links for you to check out some of the books that she has authored. I ordered for 3 yesterday for my kids. Just reading the profile, I know they should be fantastic books, so we want to check them out. I've also posted Veronica's LinkedIn profile for those of us who want to follow her work and the books as well. Veronica, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we hope that when we call you next, you'll be available to share knowledge with us, right? So just before we go, the Cybertech Assurance and Advisory Group is And this is particularly for folks who may be joining our sessions for the first time. We try to hold these sessions on a monthly basis. We are a group of tech risk practitioners scattered all over the world with the key objective of supporting one another grow our careers in tech. We are guided by three core objectives, which is one, building technical capacity across diverse tech and cybersecurity and advisory domains. We promote career growth. For those of us who are on the WhatsApp group, that group is like a talent hub, right? We are also passionate about raising thought leaders in the tech and cybersecurity space. These objectives are premised on the saying that we rise by lifting others. So we will share the recordings of this session on our LinkedIn page. I'll just drop that in a bit, and it will also be available on YouTube for those of us who may want to listen in again. And if you think that the group will be of value to you, you can also join. I'll just drop the WhatsApp group link for you again in the chat. I have just shared the YouTube video. You'll see some of our past sessions there. And just one more second for the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right. And with that, I want to say big thank you to all of us for joining, and see you in July. Right?
Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Tony. Bye-bye.
Thank you.